Hey, good day, students. What we're going to start with this week then is we're actually going to start in looking at some software to actually build a website. And the software that we're using, as I described earlier, is going to be WordPress. But before we can actually get started on that, there's a few things that we have to understand and a few things that we're going to have to install on your computer. And this stuff's all free, so it's going to be at no cost to you. But one of the big things we really need to try to get a grip on what web hosting is. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then I'm going to show you how to install a local web server, which will be right on your desktop, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. And then we're actually going to install WordPress and do a little overview of that. That'll probably actually be a little separate video that I'll have you upload an assignment from WordPress to me when we get that done. So let's just start today by talking about what web hosting is, okay? So maybe if I can go to the next slide, there we go. So what web hosting is it's a service that allows either an organization like a company or an individual to be able to post web pages to the internet. A web host, sometimes they're called web hosting services. What they do is they provide all the technology on the backside. What web hosting does is they provide the technology on the backside of the web pages that you need, and it's generally some inside software. It's called Apache and MySQL. Those are some really advanced things that we definitely wouldn't get into in this class. We talk a little bit about it in the web class itself, and there are some other classes here at Terra that teach it. But anyway, what a web host does is it stores your site for you on special computers, and those computers are called servers. But what we're going to do is we're going to set up your computer to be a local server, but there are some limitations to that. So when somebody wants to find your website, all they basically do is they need to type in your web address or your domain into the browser. Their computer then will connect you to the server, whether it's one that you're hosting yourself or that you're working through a host company with, and your web pages are going to be delivered to them through a browser. And the browsers are things like Mozilla, Chrome, Firefox, Opera on the Mac side, and there's some various other ones out there. But your website is delivered through an actual what's known as a browser. Most hosting companies require you to have a domain name in order to host with them. If you don't have a domain name, hosting companies will help you get one. There's different places you can go out and purchase them. But what we're going to do here locally, it's nothing you have to purchase. We're just going to set up our own sites with our own local domain names. I get this question a lot. Can I host a website on my personal computer? Yeah, you can. But before you do that, there are some limitations that you need to really think about, and that's and that is the fact that it takes special software on your computer that allows users to connect to the web files that are on your computer. Generally, these are provided for you through a hosting agency. That's why most people go to a host, something like GoDaddy or Network Solutions or one of the other various hosting sites out there. Sometimes internet service providers, your ISP, will help you support a website on your home computer, but you really need to talk to them about that because usually your bandwidth is limited to how much information you can send and receive on your computer at home. The other bad thing about that is your computer has to stay on all the time. Each time you turn it off or you reboot, the website's not going to be available for people to see. And sometimes when you host locally from your own computer, pages load slowly because the connection's really not designed for web hosting type stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a local web server. So it's just going to be locally on your computer, okay? And we're going to use a program to do that called ServerPress. And what ServerPress does is it has WordPress actually built into it. All right. So what what ServerPress does is it has Apache and MySQL. What it's going to do is it's going to install just like a little local version of that on your computer. It's like I said, it's just a local server application built specifically for developing in WordPress. It comes with features that allows us to install WordPress quickly, and it's available both for Windows and for the Mac, so it doesn't matter which platform you're working on. And we'll go through that here in just a minute. Once the web and database services, the Apache and the MySQL are running on your computer, you're ready to install WordPress. So that's where we need to start. So I'm going to jump out of here. Let me close that up. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to Google. And in Google, if you type in ServerPress, you should be able to see access. It's serverpress.com is the site you're going to go to. And if you click on that, it's going to take you to the ServerPress homepage. And this is where we're going to get started today. All right, so like I said, ServerPress, there's actually two versions of it. There's a free version and a paid version. I'm going to tell you up front, there's certain limitations on the free version. It's not going to affect anything we do, but one of the things you cannot do with the free version is upload or publish your pages, as we call it in the web world. You cannot publish your pages out to the internet. So if you go down here to where it says get started for free and you click on that, it's going to show you the two different versions of WordPress that are available to you. So you got the desktop premium, and you can go down and kind of read and see all the things there that it can do for you. And then there's the desktop limited. So if I scroll down through there, you can see it's free and you can add that to the cart. So let's just go ahead. You can manage 3 local websites on it. That's a bonus for you. So you could actually develop 3 sites on your computer. With the paid version, you have unlimited number of websites. And you can see that's $99.95. Which actually isn't a bad price for local development. And you can upgrade at any time to the premium version. I don't recommend you do that unless you take the web class and you want to start developing websites on your own to get paid for them. Then that's a good thing. For this class, though, all we're going to do is just some little overviews of what WordPress is. So we're going to add that free to cart. And hopefully we get a little dialog box up here. Computer's not a little slow. There we go. All right, so there it is. So you can see that the total for our cost there is 0. And it's going to come down here. It's going to ask you to add some name, some information. It's going to ask you to fill in some things down here. So you probably want to have a company name. So we're just going to fill in the basic stuff. And if I click on that, it's going to fill all those things in for me. And then how did you hear about us? And we're just going to say Google search engine. And then you just have to agree to the terms and then just say purchase. All right, then that's going to take you to this screen here. And what this does is this will show you the desktop limited versions that we have. There's a Mac version that's the latest version. And then there's a Windows Vista 7, 8, 10 latest version. Depending on what platform you're working on, that's what the one you're going to choose. I'm going to choose the Windows Vista latest version. And what that's going to do is that's going to download that to a zip file. And this takes about a minute to do. Okay, now that that's complete, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that over to my desktop. So I'm going to show my folder here, my download. I'm going to copy that. I'm actually going to move that over to my desktop in my Explorer. So now with that on my desktop, what I can do is I can go in and right mouse click on that and say extract all. And it's just going to move that to unzip that into a folder onto my desktop. So I'm just going to say extract. So we're going to click on the install icon once that folder's unzipped. We're going to say run. We should get a couple dialog boxes that come up here. continue. Say yes to the warning error if it tells you that, which you get another server press dialog box then. This is just the end user license agreement, accept that. And what we want to do is we want to do a new desktop server installation. So we're going to make sure that's selected and click continue. And this will take a few minutes, so I think at this point I'm just going to go ahead and pause the video and then come back to you here in a second. Okay, we're back. As you can see, the install is now complete and we get this message here that says you're done. You can start the desktop server from C, xmplite desktop server.exe program icon. Click finish to close the installers. So just say OK and say finish, and then the installer will close. So over under our computer should be when they're called create a short cut to your desktop, or you can just double click on it from there. And it's going to ask you then screen and say yes, you want to start the Apache and MySQL services, and those are the services that you need to be able to create a website within WordPress. Next. Once that is complete, we say next, and then we'll get this. You'll see it's www mark grind test development WP admin install PHP, and we will say next. And what we want to do is create a new development website. So there we'll click next. And we'll give it the title of, we're just going to call this a sample test for our site name. So it'll be www.sampletest.dev and say create. Okay, so you get to the screen then after that loads where it says creating source folder, creating databases, restarting restarting web and database services, done. All right, we're gonna say next, and then you're gonna have this this line come up here where it says www sample test, which is what we named it, development WordPress admin install PHP, and we're gonna say next. So we're going to stop or restart the web and database services and say next. And we're going to restart the web and database services next. Then I'm going to go to my sites button once I got those web services started. And you can see I should have two sites listed up here. One that I tested, and that's sample development test site. I'm going to click on that, and that's actually going to take me into WordPress. And it's going to ask me for a little bit of information here. So we want to choose English United States, hit continue. Give it a site title. And I'm just going to call it my sample site. and I'm going to put in a new password. I'm just going to type in something very simple. Doesn't have to be strong for what we're doing here. Confirm the password, and we're going to type in your email address. And install WordPress. Oh, forgot my username up there. Use Mark Grind as the username, confirm the weak password again, and install WordPress. Okay, once we get that portion of it done, you can see it comes up to the actual WordPress site. As you can see, as you can see, it's a very simple interface. Over the next couple weeks, we're going to be looking at this. And what your assignment is then for this week is just to let me know that you got this far, to make sure we didn't have any issues. I want you to do a screen capture of this right here, because it'll have your sample site test development information up there, and submit it to me through the Dropbox. All right, and then for next week, then we'll actually get into WordPress and start looking at some of the different things we can do with it. Hope you all have a great day, and we'll catch you next week.